Well, these animes from the past are finally coming to an end this year. I'm not just talking about last year's ones, I'm also talking about 2 years ago. Or maybe even further. But hey, spring is around the corner. Not the season, though it depends where you live. My time of spring has already begun. This is Sparda's World Podcast with your host, Sparda 3G. And, well, yeah, like I said, Spring Anime 2016 is around the corner, so I gotta get ready to list order them for me to watch, or even try to binge watch. And there is another extra coming in this week, where it probably will be up on Friday. Most likely it'll be up on Friday. But, I'll let you know, well, I won't let you know. Let's take it as a surprise. But you will see it yourself, and you're probably most likely going to guess what could be. I'll just say this from this year. It's the winter anime. And I got a lot of things to say. But of course, you just have to wait this week. It will be up on Friday. Most likely Friday for sure. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Because, last week I did the Assassination Classroom manga overall thoughts. Now this one will be something else, but hey, if you subscribe to this channel, you will see it up in there when it's uploaded from me. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe this channel. So anyway, let's see what we have. Since the spring anime is finally coming, we have a lot of series that's actually coming to an end this year. But there is a good news for one series. And that is Haikyuu. If you recall from the last week episode, I have mentioned there's a big announcement coming from Shonen Jump. And, I guess a lot of things. And honestly, I guess the announcement that we got that is officially announced this week, well, actually in the past week, but this was before the episode was recorded, is the fact that Haikyuu is getting a third season for the TV anime, and nonetheless, it's actually happening on fall 2016. Now, the reason why I'm a little surprised is because if you read the manga and you follow along for a while, there's a good amount of content, yet I don't think it's good enough to have 26. I mean, one game could last a good half the season, but I don't know about the other content. I feel like it can, but we are approaching April as we speak, so it's like we're getting really close to that fall season. I mean, we got summer, sure, but these manga chapters come out on a weekly basis, and some of them takes break, right? So I'm surprised they actually announced season 3 this soon, especially when season 2 hasn't even ended yet. Though I gotta say, season 2 has been great, and actually, I actually put on hold on the anime until that one game ended, and so I decided to watch it all in one go, and boy, was it awesome. So anyway, with season 3 on being announced for fall 2016, that's really great news. I'm happy for that. I just thought it was sooner than I thought. I think it was the same thing for the first season announcing for the second season, but it had a lot of content at that time, much more so than right now. But I could be wrong. Maybe they will only cut it only 13 episodes, or they will cut a little bit shorter, or maybe the manga will actually cover a lot of things, and maybe it won't be like the same length as the final game that you'll probably see if you watch or read the manga, you will know what I'm talking about. So, but I'm happy to see more of this, because this is the one sports series that I feel like it has been such a great effort, great passion coming from the mangaka himself. I feel like this series is really has a lot of heart to put in this work. As we don't get that many sports anime series at this time, especially with Kuroko already ended. Ace of Diamond is about to end too in terms of anime, and if there is a second act, there is a second act. That's the second season or a second series, but that's going to be like quite a while to see to the day we see it in anime form. Haikyuu is the only one you could place bet on. I know there's another one that's coming. I think it's soccer. I forgot which sports. I think it's actually coming in spring, or maybe it was summer. I forgot. But I do recall there is something with sports based. It's going to be animated. I don't know if it's that great. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if anything about it. But maybe it will be one way to tell me, hey, I should go for the manga too, or maybe I should be invested with this series. With Haikyuu, I found, I saw the Haikyuu from anime. I learned about it from the anime. I know about the manga, but I never really got into it or never thought about like reading into it. So I let the anime pretty much do the advertisement for themselves, and I loved every part of it. I was really engaged. At times I kind of wish I didn't read I kind of wish I didn't read the series, because I feel like if I watch only, I will be so crazy heavily invested with the last game in season 2. But then again, I was still hooked because it was so well directed. Everything about it. It went the way I wanted it to be. It put a lot of effort from the production IG. Of course, the original content already itself is great. So seeing the animated form is even more perfect than I can imagine. I was so thrilled, and I was really hooked to that game. Everything about it. It is my favorite game of the series so far. Maybe it could change my mind with season 3, because that game was too long. But that's what happens when manga. That's what happens in manga sports series, because it's like they go for like over 3 volumes, 4 volumes even. It's crazy, but that's how they usually work. But hey, maybe it could change my mind in the anime form. Sometimes the anime can't really change a lot of people's mind about the game or a lot of things. Depends if the anime is being directed greatly. It all depends on that, because a lot of people like to see, like, sometimes the anime can override the negative or the cons that people have with the manga form, and it's just like think the anime is actually better. I mean, of course, the manga will always be the original, and always will be, something that always going to be recommended in order to see all the content and all the original form. But sometimes people like to see in the animated form and don't really want it to go read black and white picture stills and stuff like that. You'd be surprised. There are people like that. So definitely good news for Haikyuu fans. I'm definitely hyped to see it fall to 2016. 2 seasons, I could deal with it. So I'm good with that one. I can't say surprise, but I guess it's a great news from a friend of mine. A great news about that they announced another anime coming for fall 2016, and only know the English name because I try not to say the Japanese name. It's Natsume Book of Friends. I guess that's how they say it. I know it started with Y, but I can't really say that. Maybe if I should have took my time. Sorry. So it has announced to have a season 5 for fall 2016. I'll be honest, I have not read nor watched it, and my friend really loved this series. She feels like season 5 announcement was a bad thing for being like, great, now I'm gonna have nothing but views again. So I don't know what to expect with this, but I do like that cat. Supposedly it's a demon, but whatever. The point is, I didn't see it, and it kind of makes me want to see it now. It kind of makes me want to see what is up with it. I heard it's pretty good, really, really good. And I do remember seeing a lot of things in the Tumblr page and stuff like that. But regardless, I do want to see what's so good about it, because it has a lot of fans all hyped up to see the season 5, all happy about it. So it definitely seems like that studio behind them is really following along and really not let it go and just be an advertisement itself. Because a lot of people just only animate it once, and then they will never go do season 2, season 3, or remake just because they did the job as advertising, rather than this is a good series. I want to show all in this animated glory. But that's how it goes. So I'm happy for that one too. We're talking about fall 2016, and we're not even in spring 2016 for anime wise. But Oh well, we got to get more hype for whatever's come this year. Since everybody likes to say this year is actually one of the biggest hype year for anime, which can be true. It can be disappointing, but you never know. One of the series that's actually kind of coming to an end, anime wise, is Fairy Tail. This news came out of nowhere, and I was about to record this until I saw this news, and I was like, "Wow, that's new." So what it is that the Fairy Tail 2014 anime, as they want to say it, because remember, Fairy Tail does have two anime TV series. One of which is from the first one. I forgot what year, but they did take a break. And then they go to 2014. From what I heard, there was a lot of some stories about production or whatever the case may be. I don't know. There's a lot of things I haven't even heard about it until now. Is they took a break for many reasons, and one of the reasons is just to have a different production team, which they did, and it clearly shows in the Fairy Tail 2014 edition, with the art being different. And the tone and the color tone is different as well, especially when they get to the Tartarus arc, which is all more grimmer and more, and the contrast seems to be on the negative side. But that series is coming to an end, anime wise, of course. However, they do have a special project in work, and it should not be the movie because the movie's already announced. They already showed some previews. So I don't know what's the special project they're working on, but regardless, the Fairy Tail 2014 anime is coming to an end this month, March. So I believe March 26th or 25th. I think it's 26th. March 26th will be the end. It will end when episode 103 or 102. So yeah, say goodbye to Fairy Tail there. But no, don't worry. They're most likely going to come back because they did come back for the last time. I'm glad they are taking a break because they needed to. They should not go to do fillers. They would just embarrass themselves further. And I know they want to have some fantasy because, it's Fairy Tail. You should know by now. But I think it's the best idea is just to hold on and let the manga flow. And besides, maybe the manga does come into an end this year. I don't think so still, but it does seem like it is reaching to its end, but I don't think it's going to end this year. I just feel like it's just best to hold it off until they get more content, because I know where they're going to stop at, it's easy to adapt them under 20 episodes. So that's not going to be a good idea for those guys. Just let them take a break. And thankfully, they are thinking that way. Rather than Studio Period or Toei Animation would like to run with their money-hungry series like Dragon Ball, One Piece. Well, Dragon Ball has its own thing, but One Piece, it came from the original content of manga, of course, and they managed to find a way to stall so many time and everything like that. Same thing for Naruto, at least it didn't fall to that. Regardless if you don't like the anime, you don't like the series, Fairy Tail, whatever, at least they didn't go that approach. Be better off doing not that. And speaking of Studio Period, Akatsuki no Yona. That's one series that a lot of people like to say the only series they did right. The only series that the Studio Period did right. Good, no less. Which I will say, I will agree. I'll agree. In terms of adapting, I'm not going to talk about original because I know what you guys thinking. But in terms of adaptation, I'll agree that it is their only good one they ever done. I mean, maybe Tokugo could have been decent if they did the right direction and they didn't make themselves too separated because they flunked up so much with the first season, but whatever. Point is, Akatsuki no Yona is getting 2 OVA and is based on the Xeno arc. If you're a manga fans, you will know what the Xeno arc covers, and this is actually surprisingly they're actually doing this way with the OVA. It's not season 2 as some people actually hoped for, but it is an anime OVA. That's kind of redundant, but anyway, point is, it's an OVA format, and they are gonna be bundled. There's gonna be two of them. Each of them is gonna be bundled with the newer volumes, starting with the 21st volume, and then the 22nd volume. Simple as that. So I guess they wanted to do the OVA approach. I mean, I know I saw their DVD, Blu-ray. I'm not sure they released Blu-ray. I know their sale wasn't that good, which is saddening because, you know, shoujo is kind of hard to try to attract the fans, especially when it comes to manga ranking sales. The way how it's just portrayed. It is a really good series. I still even catching up in the manga wise, but point is, it seems like they want to do OVA for budget's sake, I guess. I mean, at least it would be better off for them. For their sake, it would be better off. I don't know if they will continue doing the OVA approach, but at least they're showing some support to the series, because I felt like they was about to drift in and out. Since Studio Perry is still trying to find their A game that's similar to Naruto in terms of adaptation, of course. I mean, there is one, but it seems like they're going to end this soon. But anyway, you know, they have this other series that's coming in play next season, and that is that Twin Stars Exorcist, I believe that's the call. A little skeptical because it is Studio Perry, mainly Studio Perry. But I'm going to check it out. I'll see what I think about it. Let's see if the animation... I'm pretty sure the first anime episode will be in their prime level of animation, because they got to make the first best impression. You can't do first impression twice. So, anyway, back to Kasuke no Yona. You know, at least it's having some attention to have an OVA. And if this is an OVA, I'm pretty sure the budget will be more in a good side rather than like in a, you know, the usual Studio Perry being Studio Perry. So there's a lot of announcement with a lot of PVs coming through, trailers for spring's anime or even in summer, and just like a teaser for like some fall season. But we gotta focus on spring. There's a lot of anime to look forward in spring. I may have to talk about this next week, and I'll see what I wanted to see the most. I know the safe bet would be Boku no Hero Academia, but I wouldn't say that's my anticipation. But it is something I really want to check out how good they can adapt, and especially the studio Bones. Bones is doing this project. I really want to see how they're gonna handle a weekly Shonen Jump series with their style. It should be really interesting, because I'm tired of saying Toei Animation got this, Studio Perry got that. It's always nice to see when the Weekly Shonen Jump series, that's a battle series no less, or anything not sports. I feel like sports has been overridden by Production IG, which is fine. But I'm saying, like, when it comes to battle, you don't want to be hampered by Toei or Studio Perry. You want to be done by somebody different. It would be nice to see, like Madhouse, Sunrise, and you know, now we got Bones. Bones is something different. I don't know if I want to say this is the first series they ever done that's based on Weekly Shonen Jump, but regardless, it's definitely something I really wanted to check it out myself. And yeah, like I said, there's so many other spring anime. I guess we'll look over it next week. So let's just hop into something that's not seasonal, but an ongoing thing, and that's the weekly chapters review.
Where you going? Hikari zenbu atsumete kimi no ashita terasu yo.
Well, what can I say about this chapter? You know, I was going to plan reading this chapter on the train ride, because I know this chapter was out on Saturday, which was an early leak. I think there was a holiday or something like that. Anyway, there was an early leak, and I was planning to reread this chapter on the train ride, no less, on to work. Yeah, I was working Saturday for a fun favor, but anyway, that's not the story. The real story is this. I wanted to read this, but I never got to. And after finished reading it, when I stopped by, I'm glad I didn't read this on the train ride. This chapter, I can't say it's terrible. I can't say it's god awful as people like to claim it, especially they saying like it's the worst chapter of all time, and not just in fairy tale, just everything they read in general. I'm not sure what manga they read. I'm not sure if it is fairy tale is the only manga they read, but regardless, just I think it's over exaggerated. I would just say this: for this series, for its kind, for its standard, I find it to be okay. Mainly because of the beginning, and mainly because of the very end, well, almost the very end. I can't really stretch out on why did that moment even occur. You will talk about this. Let's go over this. Like I said, I thought this was okay chapter. It did ruin it's funny because the beginning started off really cool. It started off good. You know, you have Natsu versus Jacob, the assassin. And it kind of went on in a good way. It was getting fun. It was nice to see some combat, nice to see some different takes on the combat with their magic, especially with Jacob doing the stealth technique, which I thought it was kind of cool. You know, it's pretty much self-explanatory, the stealth and everything. But he could also do it with weapons. He could shoot weapons in stealth, invisible weapons, shooting at Natsu, Lucy, and he could always sneak up with his stealth technique. He could always sneak up against others, and that includes Mavis, since he can see Mavis or something like that. And he been messing around with these guys. They're going back and forth exchange. Around midway to the chapter, it starts to change focus, and the focus started to change when Loki was summoned. Loki was summoned by Lucy, going against Jacob. Help out Natsu, since Natsu was having a bit of hard time. And, again, the visible weapons, all that stealth technique, the magic that Jacob has, it makes it more challenging for them to try to go against him. And then that's where we get to the wacky moment. They get to the part where everybody just facepalm. I couldn't imagine a facepalm. I couldn't imagine me facepalming. I didn't facepalm, but I just scratched my head like... I think I only scratched my head because I came to expect something like this, since this is fairy tale. Now, I'll say this much. When my previous review, my last chapter review, I only said that I was anticipated mainly because of August. Since August is supposed to come to the Fairy Tale Guild place, I was waiting for more of him, more so than seeing what this fight between Jacob and Natsu is going to come down. I mean, I assume it's going to be the most obvious outcome with Natsu just beat Jacob, period. I mean, it can still happen now, but, I would like to see, like, almost defeat or about to defeat him completely, only for August to show and then and turn the table around. Unless he gets squashed by Natsu. But we'll see what happens in the future. Right now, let's talk about this one. This is where the wacky comedy ensues. And, like I said, the beginning, it started off good. It started off pretty cool. I was enjoying it, and it was fun. It was nice to see some stealth going against Flame, all that stuff. Even though I'm not so most likely to do some no karma thing, but who knows? I just wish this whole comedy didn't happen, because it's mainly focused on fan service, and the way how it's handled is just, it stretched out so long. I think it stretched over 5 pages. It's crazy, and supposedly this is Jacob's biggest weapon. Well, I can't say main weapon because he looks like he's gonna have another arsenal in his hand in the next chapter. But in this one, he seems to have like something. This one, he claims it to be one of the biggest weakness for this guy to have. And then Natsu looks at Lucy losing her clothes. That is the weakness that is supposed to be was everybody could downfall. And the only thing Natsu think of is, it's the same old thing. Been there, done that. That part is funny, I'll admit that. But why we had to see this strip thing in the middle of a battle? This is the problem what I have. I actually enjoy some of the fights. The only downside with these fights is these villains. The Spring of 12 needs to be credible now. Needs to start to be admirable villains. There needs to be something that we have to fear. Something these characters need to fear, as in like They defeated their friends. They defeated a lot of army themselves. They need to start losing. Not Spring of 12. I'm talking about the good guy side, the Ishgard team. They need to start losing, or they need to start seeing a lot of sacrifices to be made. Like the last chapter the last fight, was good. Yeah, now it has to be done with fairy tale people. No, it doesn't need to be only on the other side of the team. It should be on the fairy tale guild. And Jacob, he showed intimidation, and he showed a threat from the last chapter. Especially the fact that he could see Mavis or something like that. That would have been something that to stir up the story, stir up the event that's going on. But then we have this moment. It just takes away a lot of heat. It takes away a lot of serious. I'm not saying this whole thing was very serious, but it was not like, it didn't make itself as a joke. It didn't make the character a joke. It didn't make the Spring of 12 more of a joke than it's supposed to be. You already got I believe three to four Spring of 12 members already defeated. One of them turned good guy, I think. I'm supposed that he turned good. She turned good. Brandish, I'm talking about. But with Jacob, it just seems out of nowhere. I know it's supposed to be comedy with him being like, see, this is the weakness because I'm weakened by it too. Look at my face. I can't look at it. But it has to be done with fan service, and everybody wants a comedy tone. I get it that it was meant to be that way, especially where, for some reason, the reactions of being hit always look a funny tone. It's never like, a real tone, like the guy would be incredibly pissed, the guy would be angry, frustrated, but then they always have that weird, bubbly expression in their face. Their head becomes, rounder. You notice when you read the chapter, but the point is, it should not be that way. Not with this character, or not the way how it handled, especially with the whole fan service. It's forcefully fan service to be the be all and all. That's just so ridiculous. I don't understand why it has to be this way, and you just wish it wasn't like this. It's a series from Mashima that seems like it has a lot of good ideas, a good attention, but always been bombarded by something that's repetitive and something that's actually come out as a face palming and at times annoying ideas that he put up, which is fan service, because he doesn't make it into a novelty thing. Yeah, I'm saying that. He doesn't make it into a novelty thing. He just makes it as an ongoing process that we always see from every chapter. You always wanted to make a joke and just start doing the streak of how many chapters can it go without fan service, and you can only come up to one. Last time I think I count up to 3, believe it or not. But regardless, what is going on with this? Why it needs the time to be like that? And, I know there's one good moment, which is the Natsu and Lucy teaming up and just, do their attack on Jacob, and now Jacob is mad, which is another thing. It ended the chapter with Mavis supposedly found the answer to defeat Seraph. A lot of people like to joke, what, fan service? I won't even be surprised at this point. But another thing is, besides that moment, which I don't know if it's meant to take it serious or it's just a comedy all in all. I don't know, because if it's meant to take it serious, I'm assuming just the way to defeat Seraph is friendship and love, something cheesy, something very basic and very or something that you kind of wish it was more done differently and more brilliant. But this chapter itself did feel like not much happened, and that's really what it was. It didn't feel like not much has accomplished. A lot of things happened, but not much has accomplished. You get the idea that Jacob fights his Natsus, do stealth, do some fan service, get kicked. He's mad. They're still fighting. Not much has really progressed. No real struggle. That's another problem. There's no real struggle. Natsu wasn't struggling. Lucy was being a fan service for a moment, and then now being in combat, probably be a fan service once again. And that's really it. And maybe supposedly find the answer. We'll probably find out in the next chapter, but I will bet it won't be that significant or that be the grand master of all plans. It's gonna be something. I'm not putting too much hope. So, yeah, it's an okay chapter for a standard, but I could really see why people were upset. I wasn't upset. I was just more of just head scratching on like, really? You really got to do this path? Why? A lot of people like to say Mashima is not the one that's doing this on purpose. It's more of the editor telling him to do this. I kind of wish to believe that. I really don't know. I mean, I know there was this Rave series. I was going to say Rave Master, but it's the English term still. Anyway, I was going to say, well, Rave wasn't like this. Not as insanely like this, to my knowledge at least. So why Fairy Tail is doing all this way, I really don't know. Maybe it is the editor, who knows. Let's just hope the next chapter isn't like this, because I wish that fan service for once actually feels new. It's one heartwarming chapter after another. This one continues off from the Umobozo flashback with the Kaguras family pretty much. And, I'm really happy that Soichi has the chance to actually input a lot of things with the Yato clan, the Kagura family, where it all began. I like the fact that we really start from the time where he met Kagura's mother. And it actually switched the point of view it actually transitioned to the different side of the story, which is pretty much the same line of the whole Kagura's backstory, the whole entire family itself, but this time is more of a depressing note. And I mean, the last chapter, it was a depressing note with the whole loneliness. How is to feel like to be alone in one planet. In the emotionless. Now this chapter is more about strength. It's more about how to survive, how to endure this pain, these sufferings they have to deal with. I mean, it's sad because you only get a glimpse of the family being the good side, and the downside begin with Kagura being born. Which is actually pretty sad to even think about it. It's like Kagura never really got to see 100% of her mother being in healthy state. It's really sad when you really sit down and think about that, because it feels like only Kamui get the understanding of how a happy family once was. The same thing with Umobozo, and then this happens. Well, we get to the whole thing. So we got the beginning of the chapter start off pretty much got the revision of the last 2 pages, or actually I think it was the last page. No, it was the last 2 pages of the last chapter, but in a different camera, a different angle, and it's you get a better close up of seeing Koka in a sad state, because she finally understand the emotion, but it's really sad to see her in an up close state, and she bid farewell. One part I really noticed, and I actually like the compare and contrast, was the part where the Orchi shows up, and Koka's the one that's saying like, I feel like I get the sense they're telling me that they are like why they are abandoning them, stuff like that. While Umobozo is saying that they're actually showing up to say farewell, as to say good luck out there, which is funny because if you look at the last chapter, it was the other way around, where Umobozo feel like that they're seeing Umobozo as a threat, while Coco suggested that you're saying greeting and having fun. So last chapter, Coco sees something positive from them. Now, in this chapter, she sees something negative from them, and, vice versa with Umobozo. I thought that was actually kind of neat, a neat detail that I kind of missed the first time until I actually read the second time the chapter. So they left, and you pretty much Umebo's is telling Mutsu in a I try not to say flashback within. Look, you could think it's a flashback within the flashback, but the first part of the flashback, telling the story that the legend is just such a bullcrap thing. It's not really. It's nonsensical, and the real story is what he believes is the strongest person in the universe is his wife, and the fact they're raising a family, and when she gets pissed off, oh, that's a horrible sight to see. But it all comes down to that. A legend, when it comes to like legend that's so similar to normal life, something that we could all relate, it's actually more better in terms of legend storytelling. Legend, how legend is always usually exaggerated, something's kind of very, very, very fictional way. I'm not talking about like the way how this story is addressing, but more like in general, like when you hear the legend, like urban legend, here, this, that, when you hear something like that, it's like, it sounds kind of fetch, it sounds far-fetchy. So when you hear stories, that's something that you could hear in a common day life, is actually more relatable and is actually more appealing to you. It's kind of like, oh, I don't believe in spiritual stuff. This ghost thing is nonsense. But when you hear stories about, killers and stuff like that, it's more scarier. It's scarier to, what's more scarier, this whole paranormal thing or this whole actual real event that really occurred? Those would be the one that will frighten you. So in this case, it's about legend. What is fascination? And the fascination is where it comes to the story that's pretty common day life, which Umebo's pretty much established that. And we see Kagura being born. It's really, it's really nice to see the entire family. I just like Umebo's expression. He just seems he's so into his life. It's sad. It's sad when you see, once you see Koka spitting out blood and pretty much the process of her illness begin. It's sad to see the entire family no longer being that way. And again, you get a glimpse of seeing Umebozo, Kamui, and Koka having a good time together. And it's not like Kagura's fault. It's not even her fault. It's just the timing. The timing when she was born is the time where Koka's begin to have this disease that pretty much seems to have no cure. And it's sad because at that point, that's where Umebozo got into great confusion of what he has done wrong. But at the same time, he feels like he's no longer worthy of being a man, no longer worthy of being titled as a father. He feels that he is titled as a murderer. And that's where we get the transition from Umebozo to Kamui in terms of the flashback. That flashback with the whole backstory with Umebozo and Koka getting together and raise a family has ended with him. And then we transition to Kamui, where the hardship begins for him and the family. I thought that was a really nice way to segue from that aspect. And it does also indicate that Kamui and Kagura would be in fact fighting against each other when that time comes. So at least it doesn't suggest that Umebozo is still talking as he's fighting Usuro. But now it's just Kamui talking to Kagura, which they are still bystanding each other. But I do think they're going to fight each other eventually. But nevertheless, we do get another flashback. This time it's actually a continuation, but we see the Kamui's side of view, his point of view, where he has to bear with the pain, the bully, the suffering from the planet he's living, the place he's living, and he has to raise Kagura. He has to walk with Kagura. But at that time, he's starting to kick ass. He's actually, he's doing that. I guess you could call it like that Rocky 5 solution. If you get your ass kicked, you gotta get stronger, and they kick their ass back. Problem solved. It's kind of like that kind of case. And Umebozo does not like that. Does not like that suggestion. Does not like that idea of how to get even. And he actually punished him, which is one funny moment where Kagura is like, "Look at this child. She's so adorable," and stuff like that. And Kagura just, as a baby, as a 1-year-old, just kicked the crap out of Umabosa, and he actually fucked it. So I guess you could say the Yato babies are pretty damn strong already. They could be power level 10,000 or something, for all I know. But anyway, with Kamui, we get to see him struggling with struggling to live in the life he has to bear with. Especially every day, he always get picked on. He always get trash thrown at him. He always protecting Kagura when she was a baby, which suggested that Koka. It suggested that once Kagura was born, and that leads to Koka being ill, and that leads to the family becoming apart. With Koka being sick, Umabosa being away so many times, just trying to find a cure, leaving Kamui just, bear with the suffering, bear with the torment that these people are giving to him. And not only that, he has to take care of the sister, which she is still 1 at that time. So just imagine that. That alone is already torment enough for a young kid. And it skips to the time. Oh, I forgot to mention. This also gives him the thought with Umabosa being away, his father being away so long. He begins to gain a thought of being strong, just like him. He wants to be stronger. He wants to gain the amount of strength, the same as his father, in order to protect the family. So that lead him to even more of a train of thought of just getting stronger, and eventually lead to that moment of him where he is today. That hunger for a fight, that hunger to kick ass, the hunger to kill, to beat the winner, to be the best of the best. But where time skips going by, we have Kagura being more older, but still a very young kid. And this is where Kamui and Koka talk to each other, and it's funny because she was like, it's nice to be like Umabozo. In fact, you should grow bold. I heard it's a new trend. It's like, you're crazy, right? I'm thinking to myself like, well, it's not that crazy. I mean, Saitama made it popular. I don't see nothing wrong with that. But really, the idea approach is that she's trying to give him a different thought of what is considered to be strong, and it's not really fighting back, as Umabosa does not like it at all. It's rather just protecting the family of being stronger than them by not doing anything, standing up for yourself, and that'll be it. Something like that. Something that Kamui wanted to try it out, especially he doesn't want to show her how much pain he was going to go through from the fighting, because the fighting is what's going to cause him to get to all the pain and like all the injuries he's going to get. So when he come across the bullies again, when he come across the bully, he decided not to try to do anything. But then these guys are so stubborn, they don't give a crap, and Kagura actually steps in only to get kicked, which actually kind of pissed me off, to be honest, because it's just like, wow, really? You kick a kid? What the hell is wrong with you guys? And then Kamui was about to attack him until we actually see a young Aboto, which really, these young Yato guys are really cool looking when you really all comes down to it. So but it was a nice detail. It's a nice detail to see the first encounter between Aboto and Kamui back then. That's where it explains where Kamui gets that communication with Aboto, where they actually become a team in a future reference. I'm assuming we're going to see something like that in the next chapter, or maybe later on. But it is a nice way to show us how they actually met, and that's probably suggested us this is why Kamui and Aboto teamed up in the first place, because they actually met each other before and they could see each other, like, their strengths. Now, by the end of the chapter, like, again, it's really depressing because you see Kamui has to endure all those pain. He has to endure all those bullies. He has to endure everything. He basically has to raise the family alone because Umobozo's away. And this leaves Kamui in a great confusion and in a depressing manner because he doesn't understand what is considered strength anymore. He doesn't know what is the real meaning behind strength. What is it? Is it just to beat them down in order to protect their family? Take the hit and only to take all the hits in the world, and hopefully they won't attack your family or protect your family from feeling hurt or anything like that. It's like he doesn't understand anymore, and stuff like that is gonna really gonna change the kid into a person that you really don't want him to see to change. It's kind of like one of those build up. You must do something about it before it gets worse. It's that case. That's what's going on with Kamui. And because of that, I could see why he changed so drastic in the current times, though, in a bad way, no less. I could see that. I can see so much reason for that change. And it really shows. Again, he has to endure since the beginning, since the birth of Kagura. Just imagine, that's a lot of years he has to go through that pain. He just had a good life when he was just him, Umobozo, and Koka. It felt, you could tell from that glimpse of the picture. And then when Kagura was born, the illness happened and everything split apart. Everything just doesn't feel the same anymore. And even when he's trying to explain the strength, Umobozo don't even have the real answer. So it actually brings more real life situation to give you the idea that there's no real perfect answer. There's just something that you really got to find out yourself. I don't know where Sorochi what kind of message it's going to give in the very end, but this is something that's actually pretty more realistic in terms of the shonen form because, again, they try not to make it very easy and very straightforward, basic thing about like friendship or the protection and stuff like that. So stuff like that. It can, I'm not saying they're not bad. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying they're not the right thing to do. I'm not encouraging you to say screw the protection or anything like that. But there's no easy answer. It's what I'm saying. Even when it sounds easy, it's not going to be easy. Even when it sounds right, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be, it has to be something that really fits your criteria. It's something that really, really seems like the perfect match to what your situation is place you in. And it's sad. Again, it's sad. Like I said, I know I said sad many times, but it is sad because it's just kind of depressing as the time goes on. The chapter started off nice and heartwarming with seeing the family all together, seeing Umobozo living a life with his love and raising a family, and then once the whole transition to Kamui's flashback, it just feels very depressing, and it gets more depressing. You would expect there would be answer. You would expect that Kamui found the answer, wanted to change into the worst part. Instead, he never found the answer. He just went to more depression and just feels like he's gonna crack one day and just go screw everything about it. And that's pretty much what happens in the present time when you think about it. But we got to give one more chapter to see what exactly cracked them. Of course, it has to be the mother's death, but it's going to tally up. It's tallying up to that moment, and that will be the part where he just breaks. That's my best guess. Also, by the end of the chapter, he's pretty much explaining. Kamui says that Umobozo is the one that kills mother because they left the planet where she was in, and Altana, where the Tana source is from that planet, and because of Koka left the planet or something like this, it's suggesting that her power of immortality come from that planet, but unfortunately, because of her moving out, she was left in the dust, and she pretty much grow weaker and weaker. And because of Umobozo pretty much denied this whole thing, I guess you could say, or killed the flowers as they call it. That's what leads to her death. I guess it's suggesting that the next chapter will be about her death. It will be the time where we see the final nail to the coffin of the family being split apart. And that's what I'm assuming. That's what I guess. It's kind of hard what he's trying to say. It may seem like they split away from the planet, that's why she died. Or it could be a little more to it. So I'm just leaving the next chapter to the answer. But definitely a heartwarming chapter. I really enjoyed this chapter. I really love this flashback as well. This flashback isn't just for Kamui. Isn't just for Umabosa. It's just the family itself. And it sucks for Kagura to even hear this story because she was still a child. Or you could even go back all the way as a baby. The baby time. She doesn't know about the illness started in that time. She just know that when she was raised, the mother was already sick. But that was never the case. She was not always sick. She just got the illness around the same time after of Kagura's birth. It sucks. It really sucks. But, I can't wait to see the next chapter. I really want to see how this conclude. I know it's going to conclude that she's going to die. I just want to see how much this family is going to break apart and how much it's going to suck to see it that where the present time has led them now. So, well, we just have to wait. Great chapters after great chapters just keep on piling. Then again, this is Tokyo Ghoul, but still, usually it takes a break or, it doesn't go that crazy. Not yet, at least, but this arc has been going crazy so far. And when you think about it, it's only been like 5 chapters of, build-ups, talking. Nothing wrong with those. But to think of these intensities that's happening right now, so early, so soon, I mean, it's great. I understand that. But damn, I didn't think it's going to be that intense. And it still feels like the last arc of this series. It could be a third part of Tokyo Ghoul. I'm pretty sure there is, because we just got the V organization being the plot now. So it's going to be a lot of new revelation, a lot of new twists and turns. I guess Ogiri might be done in this arc. I could be wrong. Anything is possible. I think it might be the case. I don't know. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say who's going to live, who's going to die here. Maybe being alive, who's going to stay alive. It could be somebody we already know, but then again, I don't want to know. I mean, for all we know, Kaneki could actually die in this arc. And if he does die, I'll be, I don't know, awestruck. And honestly, awestruck, I don't think that could really fit my emotion that's going to unfold if he does die. But let's not jump the gun. This chapter itself is actually another great chapter. I really enjoyed this chapter. I find this very engaging with this entire exchange, interactions, the reactions, no less, and that cliffhanger. God damn. So I didn't mean to say that, but this thing has really got me excited. It's really going crazy. Not too crazy, but it's just going crazy because of the fact that these actions, these events, these characters who are being involved in this arc is really pretty much like everyone that we all know. That includes that character, which we'll get to that very soon. But regardless, it just seemed like everything feels like the last arc of this series. So the biggest revelation that Kaneki is going through. And I'm not talking about the potential death. I still hope not, but we'll see. What I like from the beginning, start from the beginning, we do get to see about Kaneki and Arima, where he was Sasaki. It was the same flashback, but a different camera angle, a different point of view, a different imagery. Where the flashback where Sasaki was like couldn't handle more training, but Arima keep pushing and pushing, which still begs the question: what is the Arima and Kanaki relationship? Because it is always a mix. When it comes to training, it's like, brutal, abusive. I don't want to say abusive, but you get the idea what I'm trying to say. It's like, he's being very hard on Sasaki when it comes to training, when it comes to being a CCG investigator, or being like a high class level of like pretty much trying to make an Arima 2.0 or whatever it may be. But when it comes to like a normal life, like name calling, that chapter, that side chapter with him, getting the present for Christmas, getting Christmas present from Sasaki, he has that smile. It's like, what is the relationship between them? What is Arima to begin with? It's actually kind of hard, but yet it's pretty interesting to try to figure out where he stands, because you got two people. Well, yeah, you got two people that actually had a good comment about him. You got one person that hate him. So what is he? Where does he stand? He's not entirely evil, but he's not entirely good. What we're looking at. Anyway, I do like the fact that we have this mixed reaction, mixed emotion that Hinami have with Kanaki. Like, she's crying, she's sad, she's angry at Kanaki, and rightfully so, because as I said from the last chapter review, he's burning the bridge with CCG, which in their case means he's burning the bridge to live once again as a human being. But now he's going back to Ghoul, which Hinami already knows that living as a Ghoul sucks. It's horrible. It's god awful. It's the worst of the worst. Why would you throw that away? Hinami is not like searching for Kanaki to return home. He only searches to see, how he's doing. Like good old times, or good old times, but under a different ceiling. But now Kanaki is trying to go back to that same ceiling. Well, not really, but the fact is, Hinami doesn't know, which thankfully she doesn't know. But then again, she should know, because this is not good news at all. But Hinami doesn't know that Kanaki is going for a suicide mission. This is not a mission to say, let's go back to the life of Ghoul, let's get you free. But instead, I'm going to set you free, and I will die for you, because this is the way I envision. That's something that she doesn't know. But again, she has that mixed emotion. Like, she's more angry, but she's sad because she's so happy to see him back as Kanaki. But she's angry the fact that he burnt that bridges, and now he is the enemy again. He is the enemy, the way how Ghoul was always seen by CCG. And enemy. It's never going to be, they could be friends and stuff like that. I still don't know what Q Squad will stand by, but, that's the reason why Ishida has these characters separated, in order to make us wonder so much if they're gonna still be companions, or they're gonna actually be heartbroken to hear Sasaki is a traitor. So we'll see how that's gonna play out. So we have Arima having a battle with Ayato, and it's as expected, it's one-sided of doom. Arima is just broken beyond broken. Ayato is like, the funny thing is, this chapter is more of a hype for him as well. I mean, the entire chapter didn't focus on him just kicking ass, but you have you have Kanaki saying like, I'm gonna go die by Arima's hand, because nobody cannot take Arima, nobody. And Ayato's like, damn, this guy's too broken. So yeah, Arima is pretty much as you expected, just beyond it's just beyond powerful. I still don't know why he's that powerful. He's a damn human, so what the hell is going on? But you never know. But then again, he's a VR organization for a reason, so here you go. At least he had retreated. At least Ayato made it out, and you could tell he was thankfully that he got out of there, because he was gasping for air. It's like, holy shit, I almost died. Like, it's crazy. One little note to bring out is that there's that scene where they see the cameras, a bunch of cameras of all the CCG going, not CCG, going all the ghouls, all giddy ghouls, or actually just ghouls in general, just going all mayhem into place. You got this guy, Hasaki. He's pretty much behind this Coachella security and everything. And it's funny because you always see ghouls being the scary one or anything like that. He pretty much presents as human being the scary one. But as soon as you see this, he gets so pissed off, but at the same time, he seems so loony. Seems so loony. Just the fact that the way he has reacted about the ghoul being hijacking the entire place, and he's like, damn, they're making this dirty, making this unpretty and stuff like that. You know, you could tell the expression. It's just sadistic. Pretty much Tokyo Ghoul give you the idea nobody's really hard, nobody's really good, you know. And you could, and it's rather funny, but at the same time sadistic. That you see the humans starting shooting the ghouls, killing them off, and one of them had a heart. It's like they enjoying this. It's like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna kill them like nothing but bitches and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's the irony, but hey, that's what happens in Tokyo Ghoul. Nobody's truly in a white area, nor even in a black area. They always in the gray area, but their tactics can be really black, in terms of the actions. So it's crazy to see how they are like that. But then again, we've been seeing CCG been like portraying that way many times as well. First series, we see a lot of them being portrayed to the ghoul side, and in this series, we're seeing a lot of CCG being portrayed that side. And it's not like you don't see the other way around as well from the counterpart, but it's just that this one is more maximized over the other side, like more of CCG being crazier in this version, in this series, as the last series is Ogiri, ghouls in general being more crazier. Now we're going back with by the way, it was nice enough that Ayato actually used the reference from the last time they had a encounter with the whole gas thing, because if Banjo didn't know about the gas thing, they would have been screwed. They would have been pretty much dealt with, and they would have been game over from there. But I did like the fact once again they continued the idea, the hype up on Arima, which I kind of jumped ahead from the last part I said, but they actually hype up more of Arima again. He's like, we could escape the gas, we'll be all right. Only problem is the doves, aka Arima, and like I said, Ayato should be thanking whoever he worship, I don't know, God, I guess. He should be thanking God that he escaped from Arima, because again, you either die or you escape and barely come back with some part. At least he didn't lose the other half of the bones, right? What I like is we get more of Ayato and Hinami in the flashback. This is a good thing. I want to see more of the connection they shared in the flashback, because of course the present time they're trying to get them, Ayato try to get her out in the first place. But in the flashback we get more detail between these two, and this is the part that sucks as well. Totoro was actually having Hinami try to kill somebody in order to prove herself to be in an Orgiri side, because you gotta find a way to be in an Orgiri, right? So Hinami didn't want to do it, or struggled to do it because it's killing, of course. And Ayato did the kill instead. And you could try to argue he did that for the benefit for her, or he actually did that. He actually did it because he actually legitimately got frustrated with her not doing a kill, which the latter part seems to suggest is actually the former, at least in my opinion. But the later part is the really nice but sad, depressing note to hear from Hinami about why she's doing this, why she's joining Ogiri, why she's trying to join Ogiri in the first place. And of course, is what we all expect is Ito influence her to, try to you gotta do something, you gotta take action, get your hands dirty. And it sucks that she really took that to the heart, because she doesn't want to do that, and at the same time she wants to. It's really hard on her because she lost a lot of people. She lost her mother. She lost, her brother, Kanaki. Well, of course, time has changed, but the fact is, it's like she wants to get strong, but she knows that this is not going to be easy for her because she's so young, and she doesn't want to do the killing. Remember, even the first time, all the way back in the first series, she didn't want to kill. She's capable to take down a lot of people, ghouls and CCG, but she just don't want to do that because that's not her way of fighting. That's not her. She'd rather be in behind the scene with doing the intellect thing, but she got to get strong. She got to get her hands dirty. It's the only way to survive the world she's in. And she hates it. She cries about it, and she finds herself weak, which I actually like to see. I actually endured Ayato for actually saying that she's not weak. I don't think he said it out loud, but he said it in his mind, and you could tell. Ever since the first series, you could always tell that Ayato is never really that bad. He's just misguided because, that flashback he has, it feels like everything just went to hell. And instead of remain as the person like Toka has been, he decided to, just be a full-fledged ghoul and just say screw everything and go and be a rebellion to that. So even if he is like that, even if he does that, even if he becomes an Ogiri even if he is an Ogiri now, he still has some, a kind heart in there, which is actually capitalized in the later scene, which I'll get to that very soon. But it's still, I really like that fact that we still see the Ayato being a nice guy, more so than a really, really bad guy, all angry, whatever, like that. He's understandable. He could understand what he sees. He really just in a misguided place because of, where the life he has to grow up in. Then that's where we get the surprise thing, and I guess you could say the fans could finally put a rest, especially that now this arc has been really going to be explosive than it already is. Toka finally made an appearance. Well, not appearance as in first ever, but more like finally being engaged in the arc, as in being really in the arc, because this series. It's funny because we're in Tokyo. This is chapter, 69? This is 69 chapter. It almost feels like it's been over 150 chapters. Like, I feel like I'm reading chapter 152 or something. But it's really only chapter 69, which only tells me that, man, we went through a lot of stuff for the past 68 chapters when you think about it. A lot of developments, a lot of craziness, a lot of twists and turns. So chapter 69 doesn't feel that far apart. I mean, we have seen her many times as well, but not in action. But now here's the moment, and it's the right time. Hinami's in trouble, and that's it. But hey, this is actually pretty interesting because now that she will see not only Hinami, escaping, but also Kanaki putting himself in grave danger, or purposely put himself in grave danger, of course. So it should be interesting to see how she's going to react with Kanaki. I actually find it nice to hear her say, like, oh, when I meet her now, I'm going to slap her, I'm going to hit her. She's being such a sister-like, because of course she's going to be frustrated. She joined Ogiri, she got herself prison, this stuff like this. That's something like a punishment, like a mother. So it's nice. It's actually pretty nice to see. Also nice to see is definitely their confrontation with her brother Ayato, because he is a younger brother. And when they finally talk, well, more of Toka talking to him, he's telling him, like, you're grown up a lot, you got taller and all that stuff. So the only thing that's missing is do the grown-up thing. Do the right thing. Do what you should be responsible for. And you're responsible for Hinami's safety. So now you have to protect her. So do that. Can you do that? And you see that panel between each other. It's like you get the idea that even though he's taller, even though he's grown up, he's still not really mature enough to handle this responsibility. So now it's the right time to do so. It's time to be responsible. It's time to grow up. It's time to act as what a mature adult would do. So it's actually pretty nice to see Toka really talking to her brother, even though they're not under the same, level as in like, their friend, they're in, I can't say they're in the good terms, but at least Toka speaks up and appreciate that Ayato is doing something nice. Because again, it's not that Ayato is bad, just misplaced, misguided. And even Kanaki knows from the first series, which makes sense too. It's just that Ayato is stubborn, but now he's growing up. It's time to grow up now. It's time to be an adult, And Ayato pretty much commented like, you've grown up too, but I'm pretty sure think your body grow bad. And it's like, shut up, you shitty brat. But yeah, I'm hoping for these two to go on a good term one day. I can't say this is really it. It's more like enemy of my enemy is my friend, because they want to save Hinami. Both of them wanted to. Toko, of course, wanted to. She cares about her a lot. Ayato cares about her a lot as well. So they both on the same roof. It's really nice. I like this kind of step. I like this kind of first a stepping stone for these two, perhaps coming into a good light. At least I'm hoping for that very soon. And I hope very soon, really, really soon, because at the end of the chapter for Furuta shows up before Hinami and Kanaki. Yeah, so you know what that means. Anything could happen, actually. Crap. That smile is the last thing you want to see. That's what the editor note says, actually, but shit. I really don't like this situation. What could happen? Well, anything can happen with this guy. This guy is just, I don't even understand. For all I know, maybe he will partner up Kanaki, and he'd be like, why? Part of me wish that Kanaki hear the entire tape recording. I don't think he will figure it out completely that he's Shota, the guy who's responsible for this Tokyo Ghoul series to begin. I don't think that's going to happen, but I really wish he knew about it, because if he does, then he would have kicked his ass. I want him to bury him at 6 feet under, 12 feet under. I don't care. So long Furuta is out of my sight. Well, we'll see what happens in the next chapter. But definitely, this is not going to be easy. And I pray to God that Hinami doesn't get killed. That would suck. That would suck. But definitely a great chapter, though. Like I said, it's pretty engaging, pretty nice development, a nice surprise character appearance, but makes sense still. And definitely a cliffhanger that's only acts for danger, only acts for doom. Yeah, that's pretty much I can say about this chapter. I should have opened up a prediction thread about the whole thing, because there's a lot of things I could think of what's going to happen. It kind of suggests that this arc is going to be like a lot of people are going to get killed off. Names from the last series. I always feel like they try to build up that Arima could get killed off here. But it feels like there might be a little twist that we might be in for. You never know. Anything's possible. Ito could die. Kanaki could actually die. I don't think so though, but I just want him to understand that he doesn't need to die. People still cares about him. Like I said, it should be interesting if Toka sees him in this state. In the state of being back as Kanaki, but at the same time really destroying the only chance of him to go back to humanity. And Toka, I know Toka's gonna be, she's gonna hit the roof. She would be the one to kill Kanaki for all we know. So, one way or another, he's dead. He's dead. So maybe you know what? I could confirm this now. He's dead. He's going to die. That's it. I'm calling it. He's going to die. And that will do it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Spring anime is finally coming around. I believe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, will come next week or definitely come 2 weeks after. But a lot of series is definitely ending this week and next week as well. Long-running series and seasonal series. But hey, at least we got lots of things to talk about next week. And don't forget, there's going to be extra for this week as well. 2-parters, I may add. So, should be interesting to see what you think about it. Should be interesting to even talk about it from me, yours truly. So, I'll see you next time for more Sparda's World. Take care. Want more of Sparda's World? Subscribe here today. Every week of Tuesday, a new episode releases, bringing you the latest anime manga news and reviews of the latest chapter from various series. Plus, there are extras at any time of schedule that discuss other topics, including first impression, final thoughts, and many more. Subscribe today, and I'll see you next for more Sparda's World.